Good day, everybody, and welcome to Dental Voice Season 2. My name is Rolando, and this is Zyris. The purpose of Dental Voice is to hear from people, clinicians, people in our industry, and get their perspective, get feedback regarding the things that they're doing, and most importantly, just kind of understand what they're going through. Today, we have someone who basically can share everything with us. We're here with Jennifer Zimmer. Now, not only is she the receptionist at wait, you're a receptionist with Dentistry with a Smile, sorry, in New Jersey. She's also a patient, and she interacts with a lot of patients. So what I want to do, what we want to do today is say hi to her and then also have her share her personal perspective and the things that she's experiencing. Hey, Jennifer, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Ro. How are you?
Very well, thank you. First of all, thank you for joining us, and very, very much appreciate the fact that you're willing to take the time with us, and especially in everything that you're doing and how busy you are.
Oh,
So
no problem. We're big fans of Dental Voice here.
awesome. So I'm going to get right into this. So from your perspective, COVID took basically everybody and smacked them in the face. How do you feel about that? And what are your thoughts about it and how it's affecting you personally, as well as the things that you're doing? I mean, family, friends, that whole thing. How do you feel about COVID?
Um, it's really a mix of emotions, especially in the situation I found myself at the beginning of the pandemic. Here as a worker at a dental office, which is a high risk occupation, as a new mom, as somebody who had a family, it was very, like I said, it's a mix of emotions. I was scared, nervous, angry. I almost didn't know how to feel.
And how did you process that? How did you navigate through that?
Well, when the pandemic had first started, I was actually on maternity leave, so I was a little bit removed from the situation only because I was at home at the time. So to me, it didn't really hit me until, um, you know, our office manager had sent out a group text to everybody saying that the office will be closing until further notice. Um,
Oh,
family members of mine were saying, oh, we are not going into work. My husband started working from home as well. So then it kind of started to hit me then, but at the same time, I also didn't know the extent of how serious the pandemic was until it started affecting my life personally. You know, after a while, you start knowing people who have it, you start kind of hearing people passing away from it. And then, and that's when it kind of was, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real.
this is real. And then all of a sudden you start hearing all sorts of things about, how it's transmitted and how crazy this, how it spreads and all that, and then how it affects dentistry and all that type of stuff. How did that make you feel about coming back to work, and then kind of the fact that you're going into a dental office where nobody knew what was going on?
Um, the idea of my job was actually, I think, the scariest part of it for me, only because, we work in just a small office where people have their mouths open, 85% of the time. Um, and me with having a new baby in the home, it was kind of, I was wondering what was in store for me in the future. And not only what was in store for me, but what was in store for the rest of my colleagues and my coworkers here in the office. A lot of the things that were being communicated to me were that, yeah, we don't know when the office is going to open again, or we don't know how we're going to deal with, keeping everybody safe, and we don't know how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that. So those months that we were closed, we all spent a lot of time trying to figure out, like, how can we create the best environment for the situation that we're in.
And when you started digging into that, what happened?
So I was lucky enough. Well, I'm still lucky enough that I work in an office where even when we're not in the office, we're constantly working to create the safest place for our patients, for our employees, because it's not just them that you're thinking about. You think about the people they come into contact with, their jobs, their families, wherever they go. Like we try to control everything in the office, but we also have to take into consideration what happens when they leave the office.
Oh, wow. When you started, thinking about this, and you started talking to patients about this, and what was the experience? What was the range of experiences that you got from people as they were during the lockdown, or as we were coming out, and then opening? Because right now practices are working again, practices are opening again, and from what I understand, and talking with Dr. Sebastian, things are going well for you. So what did you hear from the patients as you started coming back?
I would say that our practice is actually a little bit unique. So, in terms of communicating with the patients, I experience the whole spectrum of the types of patients you would encounter. So, we had patients who were apprehensive to come in, and even had patients who went as far as like, I want to go. I want to get my cleaning done. Like something as simple as just the cleaning. Like I want to do it. And I think a lot of that came from um, the trust and the relationship that we have with with our patients. So like I said, I'm lucky enough to work in an office where you know the patient relationship and the patient satisfaction is really like our number one thing. Um, and I think with that, the patients most mostly trusted us. There wasn't really much I needed to do to get them to come back. Um, we were getting calls, texts, emails asking if we were open because they wanted to come see us. It was pretty surprising, actually.
So from a patient perspective, because I guess because of the communications you had with them, it sounded like they felt really comfortable coming to you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh yeah. So we have patients here. I can't even tell you the number of patients we have, but we have patients here who are basically almost our family. They text us, they call us, they come to our parties, and like I said, when they during the pandemic, they would call us and text us and be like, "Hey, Jen, are you guys open?" And I'd be like, "Oh, is everything okay? Is something bothering you?" They're like, "No, I just like want to get my teeth cleaned." I'm like,
So
right now?
have you experienced, or are you seeing new patients, or people who were trying to get into other practices, but those practices aren't open yet, or there isn't kind of the same kind of clarity around how things are being done in those practices?
It's like I said, we're in a very strange time. We have had a few new patients come in, and that was fine. I guess, things happen. People, apparently, there was like a big banana bread baking craze during the pandemic, so you eat a lot of sweets, you bake a lot of things, and then, things happen in your mouth, you break things start to hurt. So we did actually end up getting like a small wave of new patients after we opened up. I think a lot of patients communicated or referred their friends over to us, like, "Hey, my tooth has been really bothering me," and they're like, "Oh, you should call, Dentistry with a Smile." Even if they're not open, I'm sure they can work something out with you. And I think because we're so accommodating and we try to be as accommodating as we can, I also think that helps us make a good rapport with the patients. And I think that's how we're able to, be as successful as we are right now during this global pandemic.
Well, it sounds like too, because not only do your engagement is so deep that, I mean, think about it. They're calling you to see if you're okay during this, and just to make sure. That's kind of cool. Now, I'm going to shift. You're also a patient, and earlier on, you shared with me that where do you have your dentistry done? It better be here,
I get my dentistry done at Dentistry with a Smile.
right?
Ever.
So Were you concerned about getting procedures done during this whole process? Did you have any, in the back of your head, kind of based on, well, not only what you were learning with the practice, but also stuff that you were hearing? Did you personally have any like, oh no, okay, I have to have work done? How did that feel for you?
So the funny thing about the pandemic, I think this particular pandemic really took advantage of social media and different news outlets. So during the course of the 3 months that we were closed, um, we would have like team meetings on like protocols that we were doing in the office, but then also at the same time, like you would hear in the news, like, don't eat this because you're going to get coronavirus, or like do this, or like,
Drink Corona beer.
yeah, don't like drink Corona beer, it'll cure you. So like, it's hard. It was like kind of hard for me to gauge like, okay, well, we're doing this, but like, is this really going to work? Or like, okay, well, we're going to do this in the office, but, I heard on the news or I read somewhere on Facebook that like, this is actually a really bad idea. So I think what really at the end pushed me to be like, okay, I need to get my dental work done, like regardless of what's going on, was, like I said, the trust that I have with the employees and everything that we've done to ensure the safety of the patients here. And then I kind of just tell myself, there are countless people out there working endlessly to create a safe environment for our new norm here. So,
So
why not? You only live once.
So the whole issue of aerosols, and even now it's very hotly debated how big an impact aerosols have in transmitting this disease. Because it's a coronavirus, people know that if you kiss somebody who's got it or you interact with them, you can get it. But then aerosols was a big issue. How did you feel about that being in the dental office, and then also kind of being exposed to people as they're coming in, especially now that you've started treating patients again, and in different areas you're seeing these spikes of cases. How do you feel about that? And this just simply breathing potentially could give it to you. What are your thoughts on that?
In terms of what comes into the office, before patients come in, the people in the front desk at our office, they ask many, many pre-screening questions. We do a lot of pre-screening before they even come into the office. There are instances where we have patients who say things like, oh yeah, I felt this way, but it was fine. I got tested. So there is a lot of, I guess, there's like a lot of, I don't know, protocols that take place even before patients come inside. But even after patients come inside, like I said, Dr. Sebastian has studied endlessly in the 3 months that we were closed, trying to figure out what's the best equipment, what is the best way to keep the patient safe, the employees safe, what's going to reduce the aerosols, if the aerosols are even what, are the biggest threat to the patients. How can we do this and how can we do that? How can we keep the hygienist safe? And after, let's say, we had 1 day of training before we officially opened the office. And after seeing everything, we have a fogger that sprays hydrochloric acid, which is apparently very effective with the droplets in the air. We have the UV lights that decontaminate the surfaces. We have the isolite that, sucks in like 99% of the aerosols before they can even come out of the mouth. I think that all in itself, and especially after experiencing it, you kind of realize how, oh my gosh, like this is like sucking all the spit out of my mouth. Like, they're good.
So it didn't, because you were exposed to all of that, because you saw all of that as a patient, you came in, you're like, wow, this isn't a big deal. Do you talk about that to the other patients, or is that not something that comes up during the course of your discussion with them?
I think one of my biggest attributes in working in the front is the fact that I was able to experience what it was like in the back. So that is something that I tell patients all the time. Like, these are the things that we're doing. You can read up on it, you can research it, but I'm talking to you based off of my experience. I was able to, get my filling done with Dr. Sebastian. She was covered up, her assistant was covered up. They have all these new gadgets that really made me feel safe. And that was like I got my filling done like a month ago, and here I am.
Not a problem. So
Yeah.
wait a minute. So you actually got to now I'm curious, the experience that you had with you use the isolite, is that right?
I actually think I used the IsoVac, not the one.
Okay, yeah. In your mouth, what was that like?
So I'm actually pretty scared of the dentist. um, I have like what any normal person has, like any fear that they have with the dentist. With the isolite, they explained to me, or the isovac, they're like, okay, so this is like a new thing we're gonna put in your mouth. Don't be scared. I also have I'm pretty like sensitive with the gag reflex. So I was like, oh my God, that thing is going in my mouth. They're like, yeah, it's fine. The assistant was trained very well. She just kind of like, pinched it and like, squeezed it into my mouth. And I was like, oh. So then she Dr. Sebastian started working on me, and I was just like, oh my God, this is really pleasant. This is really comfortable.
So it felt comfortable, but it sounds like because you had multiple layers, you had that system, you have all the other infection control protocols, you wear the PPE. It sounds like it just made it almost like a no issue situation. You recognize that you're doing everything you can, and I think it's nice that you had that perspective going in. Patients don't have that perspective. So when you tell them, do they believe you, or do you have to kind of also show them?
I mean, we have a few patients who like really like push it with me and be like, well, like, but is it clean? Is it safe? Like, how do you clean it? What do you use? And like I said, we're really lucky that the head of our team, Dr. Sebastian, she really was able to train us so well that we were able to answer like any question. We know who made the hydrochloric acid, why we do it, who does this, how do we clean this? Like, we know everything. And if there's, a little bit of apprehension, and let's say I couldn't really fully get into helping the patient come in or make a decision about whether or not they should come in, that's when I had to call in like the big guns, like Dr. Sebastian, and then she'll really kind of, drive the idea home of it being safe here in the office.
So you you mentioned earlier that you're a new mom. You have a 7-month-old daughter. How did that, how did that affect kind of you coming back in and the prospect of potential being exposed to this? How do you feel about that? What was what went through your head as you were coming back going,
I mean, definitely at first, the thought of coming back into work was probably one of the scariest ideas, just because, I guess as each day passes, we learn more and more about this virus. So we know exponentially more than we did when I first started working again. So I think at the time, I think it's only normal of me to be a little scared and to be curious about like how is this going to affect me, and then how is this going to affect my child? Because, not only is my baby new, not only do we not know how she'll react to certain things or how she'll react to certain illnesses or ailments, but we also don't know how the virus reacts. They can say as many things as they want on the internet, on Facebook, on the news, on Twitter, or whatever. But like at the end of the day, nobody really knows. The best thing we can do is just, be clean, make sure you're keeping your distance from people, and just making sure that you're doing everything you can to keep everybody else safe.
So the message that you're giving to patients or mothers or fathers who come into your practice who do have young children, what's the message you're giving them with regard to, so here's the deal. This is a real thing. We don't know a lot, but we know this. What do we know? What do you tell them, or what would you want to tell them as they're coming in and asking you questions about this?
As I try to put myself in the shoes of patients and parents, and I try to think of things that.
You are a patient and a parent.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, as somebody who works in a dental office, I try to think of things that, what will help them realize that this is okay, and what will help them realize that they're safe, or what are things that I would want to hear, or what are things that these people have to say for me to feel safe. So like I said, a lot of it goes back into all the studying that Dr. Sebastian has done and her educating the rest of the team. One of the things that she always says is, here in the office, like, as long as you're in the office, everything is controlled. We have control over everything that happens in this office. Who comes in, even if, God forbid, even if they are sick, we do everything we can to minimize the contact and the spread. And so far, everything has been wonderful. Everybody is dressed to the T with the latest PPE fashion.
I love that you call it fashion.
I mean, that's what we tell ourselves. And as a patient and as a parent, I always say things to them like, listen, Dr. Sebastian, Maida, our office manager, and all the other employees, they are women who have taken me under their wing, as their younger sister, as somebody they can see as like their child or their daughter. And I always guarantee this, if they truly felt like this was a dangerous situation, they would not have made me work. They would have been like, you know what, Jen, the risk is too high. It would probably be better, especially in the situation that you're in with your new baby. It would probably be best if you didn't work for now. And I truly believe that. And that's something, like I said, they're always looking out for me. They're always taking care of me. And they do the same for their patients. And it's like something I don't even need to explain, because the patients know.
That's so, and I love the sentiment and the message behind that. There are people in other dental practices out there who may even be watching this session right now, who may not have that same experience, or are in a position where they're feeling apprehensive or fear, or feeling uncomfortable about being in the practice. What advice would you give those folks who are sitting there going, wow, I mean, what would you tell them to kind of help them through that right now?
As a person who works in the front desk, so like, I guess all the front desk people out there, something that somebody once told me is, I used to call myself just a receptionist. I used to say, oh, no, I'm just the receptionist. My manager told me one day, she said, don't say that. Don't call yourself just the receptionist, because you're more than that. And that's what I want to like kind of get. That's the kind of message I want to give out to like the front desk people of other dental offices. Like, people don't really realize how important we are. We are the first people that they see, and we're the last. So if you're in an office where like the situation isn't ideal, I think the best thing that you can do is to just kind of educate yourself, use the resources that you have, and give that information out to the patients. And that's the best thing you can do. If you feel like your dental office isn't doing the most that they can to have the safety and the best environment for you or for the patients, like I said, do the research or bring up an idea to whoever, to the manager, to the doctor, to the owner, and be like, hey, listen, I read this thing about this one thing, like whatever. I read about Isolite. Maybe that's something we can invest in, or oh, they have these like UV lights that decontaminate like X amount of surface area. Maybe we can get one, you know? And like I said, I think the reason why that we were so prepared is that we spent the past 3 months educating ourselves. And we're lucky enough that, we had somebody who took the charge of giving that information to us. But like you said, not everybody is as fortunate.
Yeah.
We're in the 21st century, everybody pretty much has a smartphone, or, you can just Google things.
So what I'm hearing is have the courage to go find out information and bring it up. And then I'll say it so you don't have to. And if you need to, go find something else.
Maybe. You said it.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and say that. Let me ask you this from your perspective. I love the context of you're not just. It's an entire team, and the activities what you put in place with Dentistry with a Smile, the leadership that Dr. Sebastian and the other members of the team, but also because you recognize that and you've embraced it. You're the first that the patients will see, and you're the last that the patient will see. And the feeling I get from you is a confidence, a recognition. Yeah, you do feel fear, but you also are expressing that, yeah, there's a lot going on in there. There's a lot going on in my life. And I feel strongly that they wouldn't have me here if it wasn't safe for me. And I believe that people can feel that from you, and having that is very reassuring for the patients. Do you think about that as you're engaging with them?
We're not a very big office. We only just want to say that there's probably only like 10 of us. So the connection that we have with each other is very strong, is very deep, and we like to have fun. We like to do all these different types of things. We do like the TikTok thing, we do the Instagram thing, and patients are able to see that and kind of relate to us, which I think that's the reason why they're so trusting of us. We're not just like a dental office. We're like one of their followers on Instagram. We do all these fun things. So I think, I think one of the greatest attributes to our office is this bright and positive energy we give off. Even at a time like this, we're still laughing, we're still having fun, we're still making jokes, and patients see that. They come in and I hear them laughing harder than ever in the back. They're here in the front, talking about all the things that they did during the quarantine, or like all like what their situation is at home when they're like working from home. We had one patient yesterday who was like, yeah, it's kind of tough now because, I'm so used to traveling and now I'm not, but it's really given me the time to like, spend some time at home, work on the garden, all that stuff. So I think, like I said, I think one of our best features here in the office is our energy. And I think our energy comes from the connection that we all have. And that, like I said, that's something that patients see right away.
Yeah, I would say not only do they see it, they feel it. And you definitely get the sentiment around. I'm looking at here and I'm seeing these comments from people here that are just giving you, Nisha, Das, Sass, Jenny. And then who is this person here? Oh my goodness. It's so cool to see the comments that people are giving out and the connection that you definitely have with regard to your just the people that are out there. And the best smile staff. Holy cow, that is so cool. And I love the fact that you encourage your patients to talk to you. Who's this patient? Oh, that's right, your husband. That's pretty cool. But it's amazing to see that, and it's amazing to see the kind of the things that are out there and how people are totally willing to come out and and say all sorts of things about you. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think that it's important from a message and from a as a way to kind of take everything that you've kind of said in the past, roughly half hour or so, what message would you like to give out to the community out there, to your colleagues, to other dental professionals who will see this? What message you want to give to the patients out there that are sitting there to kind of, um, that you want to tell them about what we're going through and how you feel about it?
I guess the message that I'd want to send out to everybody is that, well, first of all, it's okay to be scared to come to the office. That's something that I always tell patients is that if you're uncomfortable, I'm not going to force you to come. You never know what somebody is going through. But I can always ensure that we are doing our best here in the office, and not just here in the office, but you know, everybody. Like I said, there are countless amounts of people who are working endlessly to try to provide a safe environment for everybody in this country. Everybody's doing everything they can to adapt to this new normal that we have. Um, and if you're not ready, that's okay. And if you are, that's also okay. We're here. So
So don't
that's it.
be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. And if you are
That is
scared, it's okay.
That's cool. That is so cool. Holy cow. First of all, I want to thank you. I really want to thank you for sharing your experience, sharing both your personal and professional perspective on what's going on here. I can totally feel just in talking to you, kind of the positivity, the support that you have. Your office sounds like a fantastic. Yes, I do watch your TikTok videos, and yes, I do. Dentistry somehow cracks me up, and I watch the way you all are messing around. And Dr. Sebastian is a hoot.
Oh
A
yeah,
hoot.
it is.
It's a good word. She's crazy, and I really appreciate the sentiment and the care that you provide not only to each other but also to your patients and that context. So really appreciate you. Just thank you for doing it. If people wanted to reach out to you and ask you questions, or if people wanted to, send you messages, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, the best way to do that is to call the office.
They'll probably get you.
Yeah, they'll definitely get me. We're on all platforms of social media. They can always send us a message on Facebook. They can DM us on Instagram. I think it's called DM, whatever, DM, whatever. Like I said, we are very accessible. So any way you'd like, we'll be here to answer.
Very good. And regardless of where life's journey brings you, if later on, further down the road, we have an opportunity, would you be open to kind of joining us and updating us on how you're doing or how things are going? Is that something you'd be open to doing again?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So, hey, thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer Zimmer, for joining us. Those of you who have been here, and really appreciate you and really appreciate the comments that you've been making. If you like the content of this, please share it. If you have questions about it, please feel free to reach out to us at Zyris or me, or reach out to Dentistry with a Smile. If you have any stories that you want to tell, please feel free to do that. Really appreciate the time you spent with us. And, again, congratulations on your beautiful AJ, I think is the name for your beautiful baby. And it's great to talk to you, and I really appreciate it. And I'm so thankful that you joined us. So,
All right. Thanks, Rolando.
Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody be safe. Take care. See you. Bye.
Bye.